Today I'm sitting down with Jenna Sprenger, chartered accountant and former CFO of Burstone Group. Jenna has spent over a decade in executive leadership navigating high, complex environments, including international expansion, where the stakes are real, the decisions are constant, and the margin for error is small. She is now the founder of Kaisy, where she helps small businesses become funding ready and access capital. This conversation isn't about burnout the way we often talk about it. It's about what happens when a life based on performance, structure, and control meets a season that doesn't follow any of those rules. Jenna, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and be part of the conversation.
Now tell me, Jenna, CFO, that is a big job.
Yeah.
What did a day in the life of Jenna look like when you were a CFO before you had children?
I wish I could tell you, because the truth is when you kind of get to Sunday night and you map out your week and what you think it's going to look like, and you arrive on Monday morning and the first 5 minutes go according to plan, and then the rest of the day is you kind of just going with it. You're winging it. There are meetings that are put in that you didn't expect, not prepared for. And you are trying to build some structure, because that is the role of a CFO, to have very structured monthly workflows, but at the same time you're trying to build an international business in an ever-changing world. So yeah, I wish I could tell you, but you don't spend a lot of time at your desk.
Yes, yeah. So very unpredictable.
Very unpredictable day. I mean, it was also the nature of the business that I worked in, but yeah, on the whole, just a lot of pressure, constant. Like sometimes I got home and I just felt almost overstimulated, because you've had so many people at your desk trying to talk to you, waiting for you, vying for your attention. So, but exciting. It's what used to get me out of bed in the morning. So I loved it. I loved the constant pressure. I loved the trying to solve the problems constantly.
And then you fell pregnant, obviously, and had your first child.
Yes, when I fell pregnant the first time, I wasn't CFO. I was still financial manager, but working very closely with the CFO.
Yeah.
So Josh is 9 now. Yeah, I'd had him, went on maternity leave, still had a maternity leave then, and worked, but worked quite a lot. I fell pregnant with my daughter 2 years later and was offered the role of CFO when I was 6 months pregnant.
Wow.
Which, yeah, I actually thought was incredible for a corporate institution to recognize, to give me the opportunity and recognize what I'd put in, and that I knew how to do the job when I was 6 months pregnant, I thought was incredibly forward thinking. And yeah, I kind of had to take the role. So
yeah, I mean, what an incredible opportunity.
It was an incredible opportunity, and we were doing great things, and we were building a great business, and it was almost a no-brainer for me. There were definitely people in my life who were like, "Oh, just think about this," and but I was ambitious, and I don't think that was an option.
Yeah.
So I took the role, and it all went well. It was pre-COVID. I think all I did was invent the work from home philosophy, because I definitely did work through my first my maternity leave. And I do have guilt about that now when I look at it, because, you kind of think you're indispensable, but there are other people out there. You've just got to learn to use them better.
I just want to go into those negative influences during that time in your life, because I think parenting is one of those areas where everyone feels like they have an opinion and they can share it with you, even if you don't want it. What were some of the challenging moments that you faced there?
Yeah, it is probably, I think the biggest criticism, obviously, when you have a job like that, is how present you are, and whether you're spending time with your kids, and you're always trying to justify that. So you're always trying to show that you're there. I think what I learned down the line, and what eventually led me to leave, is so sometimes I was there, but I was never present. You were always on your phone, checking your emails, trying to see who needed you, taking calls. So there's a big difference between being physically there and being present. That was definitely a huge lesson, that it took me a long time for the penny to drop. Sometimes you cannot be there but be more present, because you're engaged with what's going on in your child's life. So it's more about being physically present.
And what sort of opinions did you face when you were taking on this new role of being CFO? I'm sure people had a lot of things to say about that.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. I don't think they told me that much. I think
Didn't?
on the whole, people were supportive
That's
because
incredible.
I don't think it's helpful to be negative
No.
when you know that someone's taken the role and they're going to do it anyway. So I think on the whole, they were supportive. Um, I think I got more of a, oh, I don't know how you do it a lot of the time. And in the back of my mind, I was also like, oh, I don't know how I do it either. I felt like I was putting on a show a lot of the time because in the background, you are actually like scrambling all the time. But you need to keep it together, not just for your job, but for your home. And I think the reality of life is like you think you can be brilliant at everything, you can't. So you're going to be brilliant. One day you'll be a brilliant mom, the next day you'll be brilliant at work. But like you can't be brilliant at everything all at
Yeah.
once. So
No.
there's always something that you're not good at.
Yeah.
And I think that's also hard depending on your personality. Like I didn't like failing at anything. So yeah, or you're just not being a great wife. Like, you know, your husband also needs you, and that's a very big part of the family dynamic. And my husband picked up a lot. So I think that's also important to recognize. Your husband needs you as much as your children do.
Yes.
And the whole family works when you're all working together.
Absolutely, absolutely. You said failure there, or feeling like you were failing. I think that's something a lot of parents can resonate with. What was that like for you?
Oh, I hate failing. Yeah, I think you're your own worst enemy. I think what looked like a failure to me, I've had so many people say that's not a failure in any sense of the world. And you question yourself on it. Like, if I leave corporate, am I a failure? If I choose to just be a stay-at-home mom, is that a failure? I don't think any of it is. I think it's
No.
all, and it's perfect to your, like the seasons of your life.
Yeah.
You can be great at what you need to be in that season. So
And
yeah,
that
I've had my season in corporate now, and I don't see it as a failure. I chose to walk away when the time was right for me because my kids were at an age where I wanted to be very present. Um,
So when did you notice that shift? That shift from it's not failing, but now I'm ready to move to this new season. What was that like for you?
I don't know. I think it was all good question. Um, It did sort of all blur into one because I think when you're under so much stress, there's often moments where you're like, oh, I've got to get out. But then you like, then it goes well, or the deal goes through, or whatever, and you get the adrenaline back, and then you're like, oh no, I can, keep going. Um, we did quite a big deal in Europe. A lot of sleepless nights took us a long time, was very complicated across different European jurisdictions. And that year I took long leave. So I went off on the 30th of November and took the whole of December, most of January off. I think in that 6 weeks, when I actually did switch off my laptop, um, it was probably when it actually happened for me in my own head. I started spending more time. I think I saw the difference between being present and not being distracted. And the penny just dropped that I was going to miss it all. And I didn't want to. So
So how old were your kids when that penny dropped?
probably 8 and 5. Yeah,
Okay.
like 7, 8, and 5. They were both in primary school.
And how do you think your kids responded to that change? What was it like? What change did you see in your children when you made that change?
I've seen a massive change in my children. Massive. I think just the way that they actually respond to life is different. Like my son, who's the older one, he's a lot more confident in himself. He, yeah, he's like flourished. I don't know how to explain it. Like he was never like quiet, but he's kind of gone from being lost in the crowd to like really stepping up and showing up. And now he gets kind of accolades all the time. I've got more play dates for him than I know what to do with. So and I don't attribute it all to me, but I just
No.
attribute it to, we all came together as a family, and I've seen a massive difference. Emily, my daughter, was a little bit younger, but I think she needed me. So she's a much more emotional child. And although they never showed it when I got on a plane and things, I think just having me around has settled her, helps her deal with her emotions a lot. Although I'm not sure she's less clingy. I think she might be more clingy. But I just think, yeah, I think she needed her mom. So
Yeah, absolutely. And give me a bit of context around you being away. So you said you'd obviously go on flights, a lot of international travel and those sorts of things. So what did your time away versus your time at home look like when you were a CFO?
I just missed a lot. It's funny when you are away from home, um you almost live in a new world. So
Mm,
it's like, this is going on at home and whatever, but if there's like you get invited to an assembly or they have a swimming gala or a cricket match, you just miss it.
mm.
And I didn't necessarily feel like I was missing out, but like, life just carried on without you. And you're almost it's like being in a different time warp. And I think
You like
you
work.
are missing out.
Yeah, you're sort of running parallel to
You're
them.
almost starting to live two lives, and I didn't want that
Yes.
anymore. Like
Yeah.
it needs to all be one. So
And tell me about Kaisy. That's your new platform.
yeah.
How did that come about? What does that do?
Yeah, so that look, I do, and I think as a woman, you've also got to recognize your own strengths and weaknesses. As much as I wanted to stop completely, I'm also not someone who sits still. So I had an idea and I wanted to do something good and give back a little bit to South Africa. So, but also leverage off my own experience. So I came up with this concept of trying to support SMEs in raising funding. I have sat across the stack, but yeah, debt is the most obvious place to start.
Mm,
Obviously, sat as a corporate raising debt, which was very easy. I had everything at my fingertips, but I also had advisors across the board,
mm,
lawyers supporting me, accountants, auditors, whatever I needed. A lot of these small businesses don't have that. And they're great businesses and they just need to be able to take the next step. So the thinking is kind of becoming a matching tool to map the business with the right type of lender. There are also just so many lenders out there with lots of capital.
mm.
And I just don't think anyone knows where to start, how to find it. There's tons of Googling um, so it was just to create that support lens
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
support the SMEs and support South Africa in some economic growth.
And I think a really important distinction about Kaisy is it's free.
Yes, it's free,
There's no
entirely free.
there's no cost involved, and you talk about giving back. I think that's an absolute brilliant way to do that because there's such a gap there where people just don't know and they don't know how, but they don't have the thousands of rand to spend doing
Or
that.
on an advisor, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so it was also just the thinking is just to simplify it. So instead of seeing an application form that's like 25 pages that you don't know where to start, I've put it into like a very simple WhatsApp quiz, 16 questions, and it can kind of set you on the right path.
And what does your life look like at home now with Kaisy and family and still having that all together?
So Kaisy's very new, so we'll see, but it's getting traction quite a lot. I'm being very deliberate about keeping my boundaries now. I don't want to work for another corporate again if I don't have to. And if I can make this work, then I get all the balance in the world. The kids are at school for a lot of the day, but I still want to fetch them. I still want to watch their sport. I still want to be very present. So that's how it's structured at the moment. And as long as I can manage that, I will. Um, but yeah, I will need to it's only me at the moment. So definitely I'm going to need to bring in a partner and some people to help if it really gets some big traction.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And being a part of that and being involved with your children and your business and your career. So you kind of arguably can do it all. It
Yeah,
just looks different.
it looks different. I think corporate also, what's a challenge with corporate is, I mean, I had all the flexibility in the world, technically. I was the CFO. I could, no one ever asked where I was if I wasn't
Mm,
there in the afternoon, but I had a big demanding team. And I felt like I needed to be there for them to support them. And so I just don't, what I've got to be very careful with is not get to that same level where I feel like everyone is so reliant on me. I think that's a huge lesson.
And is that something that you're constantly sort of working through with
Yeah,
your ideas and, like
absolutely.
how does this impact? And boundaries, a huge one. That's such a big
Boundaries. But it's reliance. And I suppose it's the same with my kids. As much as I want to be there, I also want to teach them a level of independence that they're not reliant on me. If I can't be there today and dad's there, that's absolutely fine. Or if neither of us can be there and granny comes, like as long as they've got the support that they need, they should be confident enough to know it's not because we don't care or, um, they've got the support that they need and they've got it whether we're physically there or not. But they've got to learn independence as well. And you're not doing it for them. They must still, as children, learn how to stand on their own 2 feet.
Were there any challenges that you faced when you became more present at home? Were there anything that you thought this was going to be really easy and then it actually wasn't? There was quite a bit more challenging for you?
I don't know if it's a challenge. I suppose what surprised me was the quiet. It was suddenly just very quiet. I'd gone from having from a million emails, and now my email had been switched off, my phone ringing all the time, to it was just quiet, and I didn't really know what to do with myself. So, yeah, I mean, you fill the quiet quite quickly, but I think it's also being okay with that quiet, and that's also a lesson in itself and part of the journey of yeah.
Being able to take that and go, okay, this is
Quiet is good. Like, quiet is good. And, like, it's okay to relax and, like, take a moment. Like, and to be okay with that. Like, you don't constantly have to be on the move. And I think that is something, and I don't know if you cover this, but it's something that I think we are building into our kids that we've got to be cautious of. The schools, yeah, like I said, so my son is 9. I mean, on a Monday, he starts school at 6:30 for tennis, and he finishes school at 6 after his chess match.
it's a big day.
Like, that is almost 12-hour day for a 9-year-old. Like, it is not sustainable to live life like that. And it's
No.
okay. It's okay to have a little bit of quiet.
So how do you bring that into your children's lives then? Because there's this very fine line between wanting them to do well and be
Yes.
successful, but not having too much and enjoying the quiet. How do you balance that or try and find balance in that?
I think we're trying to do it all the time. Yeah. So, and it's also giving them exposure to everything so that they can have an opportunity to try it and see if they like it for themselves, not making decisions for them. But that takes time. No, I think it's just something we've got to hold ourselves accountable, and in any, whether I was corporate or now, it's constant readjustment. Like, if I can see my daughter's tired this week, like, let's kind of rethink about her schedule for next term. Like, maybe school, it's grade 1, she's learning to read, it's got a little bit more difficult. Maybe she doesn't need to go to gymnastics twice a week.
So moving away from routine then specifically, how do you support your children when they are going through these moments of, being tired, being overstimulated? What things do you do or think about when you're dealing with that on a daily basis?
So that, I think, was the biggest thing I missed, because I think what I found with mine specifically is they actually just need me. And sometimes it's not necessarily to do anything. It's not to say read another book or do another maths lesson. It's just to actually hold them close and tell them it's okay to be tired, or lie with them when they go to bed. And I think that's actually what I lost in corporate. Just one, I don't think I identified it soon enough, because I would come home late and they would be overstimulated, hadn't finished their homework, and the whole household was stressed. Whereas now I can read the scene a lot better. So from the moment I fetched them from school, I can kind of see where they're headed emotionally, and just be there for them and manage it a lot better. So it's much more preventative now than I think. Before, I think it just spiraled, and then everyone just got stressed.
It's very reactive
Yeah.
type of environment when you're dealing with it after the fact,
Yeah.
rather than, as you say, having that kind of forethought of, okay,
Yeah.
I've picked you up, I can see this behavior pattern now, I can
Yes.
see this coming out, and I know what the consequence of that or the result of that is going to be.
And that's what I think you lose. So, and maybe if you're in a corporate world where, I mean, a lot of the corporate studios where you're working from home more, you get the opportunity to have more of a balance. But yeah, if you were like me and you wanted to be present with everyone, yeah, I struggled with that more.
And in your family dynamic, your husband, he works a high power job as
Yeah,
well,
he's
or
also he is. I think that's also the challenge. So he is as ambitious as I was, if not more. So we had this massive dynamic of also not competing against each other, but whose ambitions were more important at any given stage. And if I went to this assembly, you must go to the next assembly. But like life doesn't work like that, and everyone's got their own things that are as important. So we were also, I don't think it was sustainable. And I think if someone needed to make a choice, I had been in the game for longer, and he is really successful now, but also just it's kind of his turn to now. He's
yeah.
actually in London now, so that's how it goes. But
Absolutely.
yeah, it's his turn to run with it.
Is that a decision that you two came to together? Was there lots of discussion around that,
I
or
think,
was
yeah,
it?
lots of discussion around it. I think we've always been hugely supportive of each other. So if I had wanted to stay in corporate, he was going to support me. If I hadn't, when I chose to leave, he was also hugely supportive. So a lot of discussion around it. I'm not quite sure who actually, I had to make the decision to leave. So it wasn't a decision we made together. It was definitely a decision I made on my own, but it was a decision I couldn't have made without his support. So,
Absolutely.
and it was the same when he took the job originally, the job that he's in, like, there were elements of, there was a little bit of, it's a private equity business. So there's, it's a long-term game, and it depends on what they invest in and how much money you're going to make. So there was a lot more risk attached to it. He was able to take that role because I had a very secure corporate job. So there's been a lot of support along the way. And now it's working out. So, I suppose it's also, again, seasons and timing and when you can do things. So,
Absolutely. And acknowledging that shift in season, I think
yes.
I think is a big one, because so often we want to hold on to a specific season, or we're not ready to let go yet, and we've got to work through that.
Yeah.
Was there anything that was, most surprising about this that really caught you unexpectedly, or did you kind of go, I'm just going to work through it as it goes? What was your sort of big picture? If you look back now, was there anything that really caught you by surprise?
In making the
In
decision,
making the decision to step away from such a high-powered role to become a full-time mum and start a new business?
I don't miss it that much. I thought I would miss it like desperately. I thought I'd be like popping in for to say hi to the team and things. And I thought I thought I would miss that adrenaline. And I thought I'd even miss the stress because that's just how I learned to operate. And I don't. So I think that's probably what surprised me. I actually don't. And I'm okay with not wanting it anymore. Like I'm okay with, and even, Kaisy, it's a risk. I'm putting myself out there and I'm giving it a go. But if it doesn't work, it's okay. Like, I'm not going to give my all to it again. Like, what's most important to me is my family and keeping that together. And that's like kind of my, do you call it, my North Star?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can, like, I mean, to your earlier question about what is failure and what does it look like, I don't actually think there's anything as failure. Everything that you can term as failure in the moment is a life lesson, and it leads you to your next season, to use your words. So it's how you choose to see it, how you choose to grow from it. And growth isn't always like up the corporate ladder. Sometimes growth is growth in you as a person and as a mom and as a wife and as a family.
I think that's such an important
Yeah,
distinction, that it's perspective
it's perspective.
at the end of the day that really shows you a difference in everything.
Yeah. I am proud of us as a family, I must say. I'm proud. Yeah, I'm so proud that my husband and I worked out how to stay together and to
Absolutely.
keep it real and to be supportive of each other, because there were times that were tough, and when the stress is so high, you're at each other's throats, the kids are difficult, and how we managed to just step back and see through that. Like, I'm really proud of it,
Was
of us.
was that a conscious decision, or was that something that just came out of it? Did you guys talk about how to approach this?
I think we had to, yeah, again, we were morphing all the time.
Yeah.
So, I think we realized we didn't want to be that couple that was fighting all the time. We didn't want to put our marriage at risk, to be honest. And we made the right choices to make sure that we didn't.
So it was all about putting your marriage first, really, at the end of the day,
Yeah,
and going,
even if it was subconscious, like not putting your marriage first and having a date night, actually putting your marriage first and making a life decision.
yeah, and
that suited your family at better than what you were currently doing.
absolutely. And do you have quite a significant support network around you, being, high-powered individuals, corporate careers? What
Yeah.
does your support network look like?
So my sister and I are very close, but she's also very highly ambitious. She's a lawyer. Started her own firm when she had her second baby. So, we
Runs in the
walk similar
family.
journeys. Very successful. But yeah, I spend a lot of time. Our girls are actually at the same school in the same grade. So we spend a lot of time with them, and yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it without her. But then all my friends are actually, because I was a CA, most of my friends come from school and varsity and with very similar backgrounds, have also moved through these things in careers. So I have one friend that was going through a similar thing with her, and she also ended up resigning, and at least we kind of had each other to talk to, which was, everyone needs a community. And also when you're working in those corporate jobs and you can't be everywhere, you have to have that friend to phone to be like, can you just fetch Josh? I'm really sorry. Like, is there any way you can help me? If you don't have that, then everything really falls apart.
It really does. As I say, it takes a village to raise a
100%.
child.
I mean, that's the truest thing anyone's ever said. It takes a village. And it still takes a village now because, I can do more and I can contribute more to my village than I think I ever did before. But they still need the village.
Oh, absolutely. Now tell me, if you weren't pregnant when you were offered the role of CFO, would the outcome have been different?
Yeah, I think so. I think the outcome would have been different in that I think we would have reconsidered when we had children. And that I think could be devastating because if we chose not to or had any of those extreme, I don't, I have such a fulfilled life. I just can't imagine not having my children now. And I think the lessons that I learned as a result of having to navigate balancing it all is far greater than, choosing to do it alone. So, I think the outcome would have been different. And I think it would have been less successful to my definitions of success today. Maybe more successful in a corporate world, but less successful as a human.
Absolutely. Now, your parents have obviously raised two very well done girls who are successful. What did your childhood look like? How did your parents raise you both?
So I think my parents got divorced when I was 12. Um, and my mom is also very ambitious. So she was actually a teacher by trade, but she started her own business, teaching bookkeeping. So we were very used to seeing a working mom. We grew up with a working mom who I think instilled, I don't think my mom ever checked my homework. It was just, there was just an expectation that you were going to do it and you were going to do it well. And equally, I think my sister and I came to the party. I don't think she was ever called in for us causing trouble or anything. So, I think it was that inbred, almost entrepreneurial spirit that we both got to watch as we grew up. And we were lucky. We were very tight, the three girls, for a long time. And we were just taught that, we were going to make it for ourselves. And so we did.
And are you trying to then take that same entrepreneurial spirit that was instilled in you and instill that in your children?
Yeah, I'd love to. I think there has to be, no matter what environment you're in, and I mean, you can get into this whole AI debate, but I think everyone needs to know how to do it themselves. And I think whether you're in a business working for someone or whether you're working for yourself, like being a self-starter is so important. So there has to be, and I saw it even working in corporate, there's a big entrepreneurial thread. You're doing a new deal, you're trying to structure a business into another business. like that entrepreneurial thread, I think, is such an important thing to learn. Just yeah, and it's hard to teach that in school. So
I was just
it
about
is
to
something that I
ask.
think has to kind of be seen and watched, um, and then you do your own spin on it. Like what my
Mm,
sister and I have done is completely different to what my mom has done or what my
mm.
mom did, but it's kind of teaching you to think for yourself.
And how would you teach? How do you teach your children to think for themselves? What sort of everyday aspects are you trying to instill in them to be independent?
I think it's hard, I'll be honest, because it's so tempting to do it for them all the time.
Mm,
Like, yeah, when you sit and do homework with them to guide them to the answer rather than give them the answer when they say, "Oh, Mom, won't you just get me some water?" When you know they're quite capable of walking to the tap and getting themselves water. I mean, I think that's something you challenge as a parent all the
mm,
time. You've got to teach your kids to build independence and not do it for them, but at the same time, you also need to get out the door in the morning.
yeah.
And sometimes you just need to pick up the suitcase and put it in the boot. Otherwise, you'll be late for everything. So no, I think I think that is a challenge as a parent that you've, again, constant adaptation, holding yourself accountable, you know. And unfortunately, it is a bit of personality type. My son is so independent and he's his own person. My daughter she needs you to do everything for her.
Yeah.
So they brought up in the same house. Um,
And this is such a big distinction I talk about all the time, is that you're raising individual people.
yeah,
You're not raising the same person. Yes, it's the same house, it's the same loving environment,
yeah,
but they're individuals. You don't treat your parents the
100%.
same. You don't treat your friends the same. Why should we treat our children the same?
Yeah. So yeah, I think the same as they grow up, the way they look at life,
Mm,
and their own lived experiences are gonna. But hopefully, I've taught them enough that they know how to, I suppose, adapt quickly.
mm,
Um, yeah, be self-starters, be quite innovative, and work the situation. Because I think none of us can stop any of this technology coming. None of us
mm-mm,
knows where it's going. But if you don't know how to work with it and around it,
mm.
we're all going to be left behind.
Oh, absolutely. Jenna, if there was one piece of advice you would love to give parents, what would that be?
Be present. It's absolutely be present. And it's be present, like I said, you can be present without being physically present
Mm,
if you choose to be. But um, yeah, in the moment, put your phone down.
mm,
Put your phone down, put it away. Turn the kids also, you've got to teach the kids to be present. Turn the
mm,
TV off,
mm.
like actually look your kids in the eye and have those conversations and mean it. And listen. Because that's
Yes.
the thing. You ask, how's your day? But you're not listening. You don't
No.
know whether they've, spoke about friend A or friend B or, yeah. So it's be present, listen, and then, yeah, adapt with it and try and read the scene so that you're supportive as much as you can be in the way that your child needs it in that moment.
Yes. Yeah. Rather than reacting
Um,
to it, but supporting them through
yeah,
it.
supporting them through it while building independence. I mean, yeah, if we were all perfect parents, it would be so easy. But
Yeah,
there is
wouldn't it
no
just?
perfect parents.
Doesn't
So
exist.
yeah,
It's absolutely a made up concept.
100%. So it's just trying to be present and being the best. I don't think you can be a perfect parent if you aren't present. It's just
Mm. No, absolutely. Jenna, I want to thank you so much for being here today and sharing your life and what you went through, because I think it's so important for mothers and for families who are juggling that and trying to make that decision for themselves. And, it's not failure.
yeah, I think it's also important that I don't want my story to ever make someone stop.
Mm,
If you're in corporate and you're doing really well and you want to have a family, there's no reason that can't work for you. It just
mm,
might look different. And you
absolutely.
have to be open to adapting all the time. And there is a level of giving something up.
Mm,
You've got to be okay with that. And sometimes it'll be your family and sometimes it'll be your job.
mm.
But you can make it work. It's just how you choose to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. And your perspective in that.
Yeah.
Jenna, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate
And
it.
thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Thank you for listening. We will see you next time on this season of parenting.